Bolovinaka, my name is Esther Vuki and I'll be doing our presentation for UU114. What if I told you that who you are isn't about you? That your choices, your dream, even the way you see yourself are shaped by forces bigger than you: history, culture, and system of power. Today, I'm diving into two burning questions about Pacific identity into our modern world. How do culture factors shape an individual's sense of identity in contemporary society? To what extent do Pacific Island culture influences have a more significant impact on personal identity than individual choices in contemporary society? To answer these, I'm drawing on three studies: Pacific Youth, Acculturation, and Identity, which shows how ethnic identity can both shield against adversity and a battlefield when system fails us. Dotani, Revolving Identities of Pacific Islands, a study that exposes how colonization distorted Pacific Islands, but also how today's youth are remixing them. Social space and cultural identity, which reveals how Tongans in New Zealand use practices like whaikava to actively choose which part of their culture to hold on to. Together, these studies paint a picture of identity as something fluid, something fought for, not just inherited. To answer these two questions, I have 2 points to share with you in this presentation. First, how culture shapes identity. Second, do culture influence our choices or do we make our own choices? How do culture shapes identity? Let's start with Pacific Youth Study. It found something profound, that feeling of belonging when you hear your grandparents' stories or taste your mom's palusami. It isn't just fond memories, but rather survival. The study used tools like Pacific identity and well-being scale to prove the stronger your culture's ties, the higher your resilience against depression, discrimination, even poverty. But, and this is critical, the study also warns that systematic barriers can poison that connection. Imagine knowing your culture is dying because schools won't teach it, or being told your Siva is too ethnic for the mainstream. That's culture shaping identity, not just through pride, but through loss. Now, the Dotani study hits harder. It shows how colonization did not just take land, it took stories. It turned Pacific women into exotic fantasies and men into noble savages. That lie still lingers. But here's where it gets hopeful. Modernity isn't erasing culture. Artists like Mulisa Tomu are remixing it, laying traditional tautau over streetwear, sampling chants into hip-hop beats. The study calls these revolving identities, not rejecting roots, but reclaiming them on their own terms. Culture versus choices. So, does specific culture outweigh personal choice? Let's get real. The Pacific Youth Study found that collectivism is powerful. Picture this: a Fijian teen dreams of being a photographer, but her family needs her to be a nurse. That's not just pressure, it's duty. Culture influences your choice, from careers, marriage, even how you wear your hair. But here's what the fight cover study adds. Culture isn't just one size fits all. Tongan youth in New Zealand still chose whether to show up to fight cover circles. Elders call it cultural school, but the youth, they go if it means something to them. That's the crack where choices slips in. And this is when the Ndwatani study gets exciting. Pacific youth aren't abandoning culture, they're re-innovating it. They're using TikTok to teach Ngangana Samoa. They're blending Siva with viral dances. The study calls it identity remix, proof that culture sets the stage, but we write the script. So, what's the answer? Culture shapes identity through system, trauma, and belonging? Or colonization still affects us today, but young people are changing what it means to be a Pacific. And like the fight cover study found, we get to decide how we connect with our culture. Identity isn't prison. It's a back and forth. Sometimes culture speaks loud, sometimes we talk softly, but the conversation, that belongs to us. So here's my final thought. When the world says, pick a side, traditional or modern, us or them, maybe the bravest choice is not choosing at all. Vinaka.